Okay, let's start our webinar now. Good morning and good evening, everyone. And it's our great pleasure to have Raphaël Roman to be here. And he is the coordinator of ECOP program for Asia region. And today he is going to introduce to us about the ECOP program. And the topic of today is connecting Future Earth Taipei's ECR with the global ECOP program community. Well, Duan was saying that he cannot hear anything. I'm not sure, does everyone hear my voice? Okay, yeah. So, sorry, Duan. Maybe you should check the setting. Yeah, and well, today is our great pleasure to have Raphaël to introduce about the ECOP program, and I would like to briefly introduce about the Future Earth Taipei ECR first. The Future Earth Taipei ECR is formed in the end of 2020, and we host, Future Earth ECR, Future Earth Taipei ECR is actually from during the COVID time. So at first, we host several online talk, the webinar to share our research for the early career researchers research, and also trying to find a co-worker, the working partners online. And then after the COVID time, we also host several like workshop or conference, the event in person, and try to like have broader networking with each other. And we are also co-work with the international hub in different countries as well. And we also host the webinar with different hub to see the same topic and what's different research in different area, different hub as well. Yeah. Then let's welcome Raphaël, and he's going to introduce us about the ECOP program.
Thank you so much, Hsiao-Chun. Let me share my screen. It's great to see everyone here. Let me know whether you can all see my presentation on the screen. Does it work?
Yeah,
all good?
Pretty good.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I mean, good morning to most of you. Good afternoon or evening to those of you who might be on the North American side. I'm currently based in Vancouver, so it's late afternoon for me, but it's great. My brain still works quite well, so I hope I can give you a great presentation today. And thank you again so much to Future Earth Taipei Early Career Researcher Group for very kindly inviting me to introduce you all to the UN Ocean Decade-endorsed ECOP program. So ECOP stands for Early Career Ocean Professionals. And so I have been the coordinator for the Asian region since late 2021, when the UN Ocean Decade started. And I've been working as a consultant with the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO to do this particular work. I'm right now also involved in ocean literacy. I'm going to be talking about ocean literacy later in this talk. And I also know my colleague Hsiao-Chun through the Ocean CAN network, or Ocean Knowledge Action Network. So yeah, it's very great to be here. And well, let's dive into what the UN Ocean Decade is, because I know that, I mean, within the network in Taiwan, not all of you know really what the UN Ocean Decade is, so we thought it would be great to give you a bit more of a background. Sorry for those of you who've been hearing about the decade a lot during some presentation, but it's great to make sure everyone is on the same page here. So basically, the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development was officially kicked off in 2021. There was a preparatory process before that, and it's going to be ending in 2030. So this year is a very important moment because we are at the midpoint of the decade in 2025, and we have a big UN Ocean Conference happening in June this year in Nice, which I'm going to also talk about in a few minutes. But very much, for those of you who don't really know, like it's really the idea is to provide a global convening framework for a wide range of ocean stakeholders across many different sectors, NGOs, academics, traditional knowledge holders, policymakers to really come together and to basically the mantra of the Ocean Decade is the science we need for the ocean we want. And it's really a good framework to enable interactions and collaborations beyond traditional communities. It helps to generate data, information, and knowledge that are needed for science-informed policies, and really to help build and strengthen this knowledge policy society interface at all different levels, so from the local level to the global level. And it's also helping to align research, investments, and initiatives around the world to contribute to a clean, healthy, productive, safe, predicted, accessible, and inspiring and engaging ocean, which are basically grouped as 7 outcomes that the Ocean Decade is trying to accomplish. And of course, you can also scan the QR code here. This will lead you directly to the main homepage of the Ocean Decade, where you can learn more about it, scroll through projects, programs, initiatives, and get more acquainted, more familiar with what the Ocean Decade is all about, this big global ecosystems. Something I want to share is that there are really 10 big Ocean Decade challenges that have been defined. So there is understanding and beating marine pollution, protecting and restoring ecosystems and biodiversity, sustainably nourishing the global population, developing an equitable ocean economy, unlocking ocean-based solutions to climate change. So for example, blue carbon, marine carbon dioxide removal technologies, increasing community resilience to coastal risk, creating a digital representation of the ocean. There's also other ones about the global ocean observing system, about skills, capacity development, and of course about restoring humanity's relationship with the ocean, which is closely related to this concept of ocean literacy and marine citizenship. And so those decade challenges have been defined at the beginning. And last year, there was really this important what they call Vision 2030 process, where they assembled one working group per challenge. And so those working groups had a very diverse and inclusive representations of ocean professionals, including also practitioners, so academics, decision makers, people from the private sector, to come together and kind of better understand the roadmap, where each of those challenges has to go to lead to what we want in 2030 and beyond. And so there is this publication that they released last year during the UN Ocean Decade Conference in Barcelona that I know some of you may have potentially been to. And of course, the QR code here can also will lead you to this page where you can learn more about those challenges and what has happened, like videos to understand each challenge, what the working groups have published, because they each have published a white paper for each challenge. And so we also were able to involve some early career ocean professionals in each of those working groups, which was a great success to start, strengthening those meaningful relationship and meaningful engagement of ECOPs within those higher level decision-making processes. There's also, I want to share with you this UN Ocean Decade Actions portfolio. So as of today, they have more than 60 programs, more than 500 projects, more than 100 contributions, and up to 1,000 activities. So those are what we call decade actions. So programs are very long-term global initiatives that tends to last for more than 5 years, and they usually have partners from different countries. So the ECOP program, for example, is one of those 60+ programs, and we were endorsed in 2021. Then projects tend to be more short-term, between 3 to 5 years. They can be at a regional scale or national scale. The contributions is everything from in-kind support that some organizations are willing to provide to the Ocean Decade ecosystems, but also philanthropic organizations and other investors who wants to help bring some more money into this initiative and help run some activities, some programs to keep things moving, also to hire coordinators and managers. And activities is anything from a conference, maybe a book that was published, so pretty much like a standalone activity that was happening since the beginning of the UN Ocean Decade. So within our ECOP program, we have more than a dozen endorsed projects, as we call them. So we have some examples here. We have an early career capacity development program in the Indian Ocean region with our partners based in India. There is Citizens of Surf from someone in Portugal, where they helped. It's all about ocean literacy and engaging with surfers and better understanding their relationship with the sea and bringing their concerns and knowledge to decision makers. We have a new Korean network of oceanic teams, which has been led by our ECOP colleagues in Korea, as well as plastic cleanup technologies and more that you can also explore on our website. So this was what I wanted to share with you about the UN Ocean Decade. Of course, feel free to ask any more questions you may have in the chat, and those links hopefully will also help you better understand what it is all about. So now let's concentrate on the Early Career Ocean Professional Program, which was endorsed in 2021. So very much like our mission is to incorporate new ways of thinking into global ocean sustainability and stewardship challenges, because we realized that there was a clear gap. Not as many ECOPs were involved into higher level decision-making processes and not as meaningfully engaged as we hoped. It was usually just like a checkbox, you know, like, oh, we engaged, we invited one ECOP and that's it, we've done our job. But it's more than that, you know, like this trust building process is something we're trying to bring into the Ocean Decade framework. So what is an ECOP? Because I've been talking a lot about ECOP, so you know that it stands for Early Career Ocean Professional. And we define an ECOP as someone who self-identifies as being early in their career, generally within 10 years or less of professional experience in any field related to the ocean. So, you know, for example, if you graduated from a master 6 years ago and you're now like being an ocean professional for 6 years, you're considered an ECOP. And we don't really consider too much the age component. So you could be someone who's older, but transition from a different field to the ocean space. Because your network is almost non-existent, it's also a way for us to include everyone into this definition of what an ECOP is. So for example, post-secondary students, so master's students and PhD students are also considered ECOPs. Community leaders, fishers, entrepreneurs, lawyers, etc. Are all part of this global family, as we like to call it. So very like what we try to do with the ECOP program is to provide meaningful networking, giving some training opportunities, collaborate with a wide variety of stakeholders across the globe, really like contribute and nurture the professional development of ECOPs, giving leadership opportunities. Also, of course, trying to find funding sources to help ECOPs go to international conferences, to attend a workshop and any other training, and to exchange knowledge. You know, exchange knowledge between countries across sectors, because we've noticed like many people don't really know what their neighbors are doing, and that there are people doing very inspiring work that's closely related to their area of expertise. So we want to build those bridges, those connections. So this is just a quick snapshot of our global community as it is today. So we have more than 7,000 members across the globe, ranging from 166 different countries. We have 6 different regional nodes, including a node for Asia, which I'm going to give more details in a few minutes. We have more than 50 different national nodes, 6 international task teams. So those are task teams that you, for example, could potentially engage in if you're interested. So there's a task team on ocean literacy, there's a task team on training and mentoring, where the members are helping our team running webinars and trainings. There's also a task team on the private industry and others trying to build bridges. You can also find this on our website, but also happy to answer any questions you may have on those task teams. And some of those task teams have regional hubs. I'm gonna introduce you to 2 that we have right now within Asia. We have a newsletter. I'm gonna share the QR code for that later, but that's a great way to remain informed of the latest updates and news coming from the ECOP program. Those are very rich and diverse newsletters where we try to compile as much information that's available to us within the global ocean community. So it's like news, it's also like job opportunities, fellowship funding options, events coming up, etc., etc. We are very active on social media, especially on LinkedIn, even though I know that LinkedIn is not a platform that may be commonly used in East Asia. So we're still trying to find better ways to engage. Again, the project, as I mentioned, there have been more than 400 ECOPs that were trained through specialized online courses over the past few years. And we had more than 1,000 participants who joined some of our webinar series. So those webinar series, you can watch the recordings on YouTube, and we share and advertise them quite frequently through our newsletter and special mailing list. So I hope that you can join us once I show you the QR code to join this list, this registry. So this is just a visual to give you an idea of where we are based in the world. So there's a different legend here because what's in red is basically officially confirmed national nodes that have a page on our website. So you can actually visit the page, find the key contact points, what they're trying to do, their mission, their vision, any activities they've done over the past few years. Some of them in yellow, basically, they have a focal point, but they don't have their dedicated page on our website, but you can find someone in that country to start to understand how you can get involved and help. And the green ones, the green pins, are basically nodes that we are currently trying to form and establish. So it's in the process of being built and developed. So it has grown a lot since we launched in 2021. And that's what I want to show with that slide, is really our journey. So I joined in 2021, but there was already an informal working group which started in 2019 during the first global planning meeting of the UN Ocean Decade in Copenhagen in Denmark. Then this informal working group really led some consultation sessions and tried to also apply for funding opportunities to give a chance for me, for example, to be paid to coordinate our efforts at the regional level. So in 2021, in January, that was the official start of the UN Ocean Decade. Then in June, we officially were endorsed as a UN Ocean Decade program. In December, we launched and established our first regional nodes in Africa and Asia, and our first national node in Canada. I forgot to mention that the other regional nodes are in Central America, the Pacific Small Island Developing States, and in the Caribbean region as well, and Europe. Yes, and I think the rest is what I already mentioned as of today are different statistics. And we've been receiving funding from the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation, which has helped also to run some trainings on the ground in the first 2 years of our program. And so I'm going to focus now more deeply. I'm going to dive into what I've been doing for the past few years, which is coordinating the regional node for Asia. This is just an idea to give you like a sense of where our core team members are located. So the countries in blue is where we have officially established a node or in the process of doing so. You can always contact us at this particular email, asia@ecopdecade.org, which I personally monitor. And also you can scan this QR code to actually go to the page for ECOP Asia and see what we are doing, our plans, our activities, our reports. But I'm going to be talking about this right now, step by step. So this is just a bird's eye view of what I'm going to be covering in the rest of this presentation. So you don't have to look at it carefully. I'm just going to go through each of them one by one in this presentation. But basically, within this year, we now have, as I mentioned, 9 national nodes in the countries you saw in the previous slides. We have more than 1,600 registered members in Asia, which span 37 countries, all the way from Turkey in the west to Indonesia and East Timor in the east. We have disseminated around 9 regional and national needs assessment surveys targeting ECOPs and published 10 different reports, which are all publicly accessible on our website. Those are regional reports, but also national reports to really better understand the needs, the challenges, and the opportunities for ECOPs for example, in Korea or in Japan, Malaysia, etc. I had the pleasure to work alongside 4 wonderful interns who made an incredible job helping me, getting engaged and involved in different countries in the region. We have two working groups, one on ocean HSC and one on blue carbon and MCDR, or marine carbon dioxide removal technologies, which I'm going to be talking later. We have around 7 active social media groups. So as you know, it's hard to have one single social media communication channel in a region as diverse as Asia. So we use different groups to communicate within each single team. And in those groups, people share news, opportunities, the network, and it's been very fruitful and inspiring to see the exchanges that are happening within each of those groups. And for the rest, I think I'm going to, walk you through it in the future slides. But let's dive really deeper into give you a sense of where our membership is distributed across the region. So we really started with around 200 members in 2022, and it grew all the way, and it has grown to more than 1,600 members as of today, which has been very impressive. And I'm so glad to have met so many wonderful people along the way who helped us spread the word and bring more people on board. And that's why I hope this webinar will also be instrumental in trying to bring more of you on board and seeing and exploring together how we can join forces and potential synergies, because every voice counts, and we want as many of you as possible to be part and to benefit from engaging within the ECOP program. So you can see also the top countries that we have in terms of, so it's kind of biased towards certain countries, and we still have some representation gaps in some specific sub-regions of in Asia, but it's slightly gaining traction. And if you are from any of those countries and would like to be put in touch with one of your focal points, I'm very happy to put you in touch and to find opportunities to connect. So this is like I want to share with you a little bit more in terms of our capacity development efforts in Asia. So we offered a free training on ocean data analysis using R in 2023, which was very well attended. Actually, we could only accommodate 50 participants, and we received more than 300 applications. So it was very difficult to narrow it down. And we tried to, to select people from a diversity of countries so that everyone has a chance to join those trainings. And we know that there's a high demand for that, and we're going to try to partner with other organizations to offer more trainings on topics that are of priority to ECOPs in the region. And so we've identified this through the needs assessment surveys and reports I mentioned earlier, and some of the key topics that people the ECOPs in Asia want to learn more about and get engaged is anything around marine pollution, the ocean climate nexus, marine biodiversity, and the sustainable ocean economy, and also about deep sea ecosystem. We've seen a lot of people being interested to learn more and to receive training opportunities in those important ocean issues as well, together with the science policy interface and other important topics. I just showed you the 4 main topics that were selected by ECOPs in the region. And on the right, it's really like all the different conference sessions and workshops we co-organized. So it could be me who was there, or it was usually our national focal points who really gained some leadership skills in convincing the conference organizers to have a workshop dedicated to ECOPs, or a session where an ECOP will co-lead as a moderator or a facilitator. And we also had some national symposia, many webinars online, networking cafes in some different high-level conferences. We also have a podcast with our colleagues in Japan. We've also organized some beach cleanups, and we have mentorship and training opportunities that we are offering, and that we hope to increase this portfolio of capacity strengthening activities in the near future, thanks to more connections and more collaboration with other organizations in the region. This is something I want to share with you as well, which is, as I mentioned, we have a lot of different needs assessment surveys that we've been circulating around the region, especially in 6 different countries here. I was compiling the data on a specific question of interest, which was, how much do you know about the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, which I would love to ask to many of you here in the room as well, whether in which category do you identify? So we noticed that not that many people actually know and participated in it, which is the the graph on the upper left caption here. But what was really important for us is that the majority of ECOPs that we surveyed read about the ocean decade, but they never found any way to participate in related activities or programs. So there was a clear engagement gap that we've identified here, where many people know about the ocean decade, but don't know what is it for them, how they can engage, how they can join. So there is that's why the ECOP program is here, to kind of bring more information and share knowledge with those ECOPs, and really trying to bring them on board different initiatives and programs so they can actually learn and grow as a professional, develop their career, and get opportunities that they wouldn't get otherwise in a traditional setting. And we still have a good amount of people too who still haven't heard of it. So let me know in which category you actually fit, and hopefully with this webinar you will at least have heard about it for now, and then hopefully we can try to explore opportunities for you to engage. And so you can also scan the QR code here if you want to access our reports, not only for Asia, but also for other regions in the world that we've been covering. So now I want to dig into some of our working groups that we have within Asia, or hubs. So we have this Ocean Literacy Hub that was launched in September 2023. And the process behind launching those working groups is very like a bottom-up process. It's very people coming to me and telling me, hi, Raphaël, I think there's a need to have this group in Asia, because I want to know what my colleagues in different countries in the region are doing, and trying to share experiences and find where the gaps are and what resources are available in the region. And so this was launched in 2023 with people from various backgrounds, from different countries. And our priorities is really to take stock, to understand the current ocean literacy activities happening around the region, what organizations are involved in ocean literacy, and how can we mainstream ocean literacy in Asia, and how can we promote this idea of having a blue curriculum that can be part of the educational system in some countries. And so you can learn more about the working group by scanning the QR code. We have been able to produce some video content to kind of share and feature some of the initiatives about ocean literacy that are happening all across Asia, interviewing people and bringing their voice to the global stage. This is, for example, the photos on the left is of a workshop we organized last year in Thailand during the IOC Westpac conference in Bangkok. So that was a great opportunity for us to bring ocean literacy to this conference and to start to discuss what can be done and the next steps for this global movement. And maybe some of you here, because I know that we have great ocean literacy colleagues in Taiwan who work on ocean literacy, maybe some of you are also involved in this particular sphere. And so this is just some of our current and future projects where we are establishing and coordinating national focal points on ocean literacy across the region, and trying to give some support in governmental communication, how to basically connect ocean literacy with ocean governance, and how can we better communicate the need for ocean literacy and the need to invest in ocean literacy within the national governments, which has been a very interesting process so far, and we love to have more people on board to collaborate and see what we can do in the future. And also we have different collaborative activities, as I mentioned, around funding, around mapping resources and support systems, creating videos. Some of our members translated the Venice Declaration, which was a declaration that was produced during the first ever Ocean Literacy Conference last year in Venice. And some of our members very kindly volunteered their time and energy to translate the English version of the declaration into many different local languages to help increase and expand the reach of this declaration so many people can become aware of it. And of course, there have been some events and CPOs that I'm going to be sharing to you in a few minutes, where our team has been making waves. The last in date was the 10th Our Ocean Conference in Busan, which closed just a week and a half ago. And we, together with UNESCO, organized a workshop around how ocean literacy can be a tool that can drive ocean conservation, and we invited a few of our members to join as speakers and start continue this dialogue. And we have more happening in Tokyo in August with the AMIA and ECOP conference, which I'm going to be sharing in just a few slides from now. The other working group that hasn't been fully and formally established yet is one on blue carbon and marine carbon dioxide removal. Again, it was also a bottom-up process. I've received emails from ECOP members in different countries who felt the need to increase transboundary sharing of data and insights, lessons learned in Asia. There's not enough awareness of the figures, the trends happening in the region. It's usually European and North American centric, and so people want to bring their research and their knowledge to the global stage. We also are planning to engage in policy and trying to run some pilot projects and help seek some funding for field trips and work together to publish some publications, for example, as potential deliverables from this group. So again, this is not yet on our website. We are hoping to launch it in the next few days or weeks, actually. We've already had a form disseminated not long ago to ask our regional ECOP community whether anyone is interested to join. If you feel like that's something that's in your line of work, or you think you have something to contribute, or you want to meet new people in the regional ocean space to do this kind of work and also make friends in the process, you can also contact us at this email, and we'll be very pleased to invite you into this team that's going to be launched just before the UN Ocean Conference. Yeah, and so finally, there's something that we launched just a few days ago. So basically, we've been building a so-called network of networks in Asia, where we've built those collaborations and bridges with many organizations, from NGOs to Future Earth to some other global networking organizations, and people working in education, people offering training, some think tanks, and intergovernmental organization. And we've been wanting to also share this with our audience. So we've been trying to create what we call a geo-referenced map of ocean stakeholders in Asia to kind of give people the opportunity to know who is doing what and where, so that there is so much information on the internet that people can't always find, a particular organization or colleague that might be working on coral reef conservation, for example, or mangroves. And maybe with this map, our goal is to help, unveil a little bit better what is happening in the region, and you could easily filter, by country, by city, by sector as well, by topic, so you could see who is working on the same area of work as you, and how can you contact them, so we can make it easier to spark those connections and those bridges. And so this map actually is now live on our webpage. Currently, it's a pilot project for Japan that was finalized thanks to the very generous funding from the Nippon Foundation and the Japanese Society of Ocean Policy. And we are now starting to add some more inputs and pins and data into the backend spreadsheet to kind of add more data points to this map covering the whole region. And of course, if you would like your organization to be featured on this so that everyone know what you're doing and they can find you more easily, again, get in touch with me and we can explore what can be done. So actually, I can also give you a live demo. So this is a video that I recorded just an hour ago. So I'm going to do some voiceover myself to kind of show you a little bit how this map is working on our website. And so I hope you're going to be able to see it work live. Let's see. Okay, so that's me who was doing this before. So this is basically the map again for Asia. So you can see the different pins around Japan with different color. The color code identifies different sector. And so you can see and hover your mouse over every single pin to see the name of a particular organization or activity, initiative. So you can click on it. For example, here, Project Manatee in Okinawa. You can learn about the name, the city, the country, a brief description as well. And you can click on more, which will redirect you towards the website. So you can learn more about them, trying to find their contact details, etc. You can zoom out. Then you can also find all of those different stakeholders by scrolling through the menu on the left. You can then click on a particular sector And like if you're looking for academia and research, it will just filter all those different organizations who are in this particular sector, and you can more easily find the ones that are interesting. Right now, the problem is that, for example, for Japan, we have many of them concentrated in one city like Tokyo, so it doesn't look very nice visually, but we're trying to find a solution for that. Again, you can try another sector like business and industry or intergovernmental organizations, NGOs and nonprofits, and you can also more easily find them, and you can also mix and match. You can just select which sector you're interested. You can do more than one sector. And finally, the last option is you can directly search. For example, you can search a keyword or a topic. For example, here, fisheries. So you can find which organizations are involved in fisheries in the country, or literacy, for example, related to ocean literacy. You can find particular or anything related to climate. So you can really try to, there's a lot of, we can do some detailed searches thanks to this tool. And so those keywords will appear either on the name of the organization or in the short description we inputted. So that's really, we hope that's going to be useful. Again, we just launched it, and if you have any feedback, if you think something can be improved, we'll be more than happy to learn from you, and you can contact us anytime so we can make it even more better and accessible. Okay, let's see if I can move. Okay. I hope I'm doing good in time. I'm just gonna finish. I think this is not very important. This is just our strategic ambitions for the year. We're just gonna also keep pushing for greater representation and participation of Asian ECOPs in high-level dialogues and conferences. For example, the UN Ocean Conference and the One Ocean Science Congress that we were just talking about earlier. We're trying to make sure we have more representation of ECOPs from Asia coming by collaborating with organizations and partners to provide some funding for them to come, inviting them as speakers, and also supporting them in the visa application process and other bureaucratic obstacles that they might have to go through. Yeah. Because I only have 3 minutes, I'm just going to share those upcoming ocean conferences. So as I mentioned, there is the One Ocean Science Congress and the UN Ocean Conference happening in Nice back-to-back from the 4th of June, the 3rd of June, all the way to the 13th of June. The ECOP program has created an ECOP registry. So if you scan this QR code in the middle here, it will lead you to a Google form where you can add your contact details, whether or not you plan to go to the conference, what you plan to do there, and how you would like to engage with the ECOPs. And so we can have your contact details added to a registry, and then you will be included into a social media communication channel so you can network with ECOPs from all around the world. So if you are indeed planning to attend either one of those events or both, then make sure to scan this QR code and add your contact details so we can bring you, so we can be part of the ECOP of the ECOP team that will be on the ground in Nice. And there's also this other conference I briefly mentioned earlier, together with the Association of Marine Educators in Asia, or AMIA. So it's AMIA and ECOP together. We are organizing this conference, which will happen in Tokyo in August. This QR code on the top right corner will lead you straight to the website of the conference. So that's also another conference that could be potentially of interest to some of you who work in the ocean literacy field. There might be opportunities for some to fund some early career professionals from different parts of Asia. So we hope that you will be able to join us if you're interested. And of course, feel free to reach out if you have any question. And maybe even someone from the AMIA network might be here on this call, so they can also answer or give more information if wanted. And so finally, I want to leave you with this message that every voice counts, and that together we can make a lasting impact on the future of ocean science. I forgot to mention that in my membership database, I think I've only seen 11 ECOPs from Taiwan. So I think we can definitely increase our engagements and bring more people on board, even though I know that there are some difficulties on that. But really, like the task teams, the activities, you're very much welcome to join, bring your expertise, share knowledge, exchange, and share practices. I think there's a lot that we can learn together. You can, again, email us at asia@ecopdecade.org. Important, the QR code on the lower left is the QR code to subscribe to our newsletter. So if you subscribe to it, you will receive this monthly packed and rich newsletter straight into your inbox. And you will also potentially have a chance to have, you will also be asked if you want your contact details to be added to our global registry of ECOPs around the world, so we can also get in touch and keep you in the loop. And again, yeah, the QR code for the ECOP Asia webpage, where the map I just showed you a demo of, is available. And also we are available on different social media. So Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So you can find us quite easily using ECOP program or a mix of such keywords. We also have national nodes that have their own social media channels. So you might also stumble upon them. And so, I think that's it. I'm leaving you with those great pictures of colleagues from all over the place who did such a great job bringing this regional network to life. It wouldn't have been possible without all of them. And I hope that we can engage some of you here into this this great initiative. So thank you so much again for the opportunity to have me here.
Thank you, Raphael, for the very informative and wonderful introduction about ECOP program. And as usual, after the talk, we will have the group photo first before we have the discussion and the Q&A session. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces online. Can everyone turn on your camera so we can have a group photo together? Dolly, can you help us for the photos? Thank you.
Yeah. Happy to meet you. And if possible, please turn on your webcam to have a group photo with our speaker. Thank you. Be ready. More people. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Again. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you. And does any participants have any questions? You can raise your hand or just type in the chat box. I will ask the first question. I'm wondering how the ECOPs or the people in Taiwan, if they want to connect or participate in ECOP program or any kind of activity, how can they join it?
Yes, thank you so much for the question, Hsiao-Chun, because you and I have been talking about this for some time, and I know that it can be quite of a challenge. As I mentioned during my presentation, there are several opportunities, including like those global task teams I mentioned that you can find more information about on the website, or a great way for you to join those diverse teams of people from all around the world who are collaborating and exchanging knowledge and trying to move things forward their own way. This is a great way. It's welcome to pretty much anybody. The newsletter is great for you to be engaged and learn about opportunities that are coming up in the ocean space, in conferences and workshops that are happening, for example, in Asia and other parts of the world. You are more than welcome to join and help us with the events or anything that might be happening there. As you know, we've been having a struggle to have a node specifically for Taiwanese ECOPs. So we're trying to see how we can join forces with the Future Earth Taipei hub to see how we can have this bridge between Future Earth Taipei ECOPs and the global ECOP program. But otherwise, except for the nodes, you're really much, welcome to get involved into every single activity, workshop, and training we might, promote and circulate in our social media channels or newsletter. I think really being able to subscribe to our newsletter is a first great step for you to know really what's happening, because otherwise it can be hard to keep abreast of like what's happening in the ocean world. And yeah, as Dwight mentioned on the slide, any plans to propose an ECOP session for the ocean science meeting? That I don't know. Maybe I think some of I think the ocean science meeting, sometimes we have ECOP focal points who do try to push for that. So every conference we have ECOP members who try to see if they can organize a workshop, a networking cafe, or in some cases, it's like having an ECOP as a co-moderator for a certain number of sessions or workshops. So usually deadline is 20th of May. Okay, then I will make sure to share that with our global team so we can try to see if there's anything that can be done for that particular session. And also a reminder that sometimes people have worries about this, but sometimes those workshops and sessions don't have to be only and for ECOPs. Sometimes it can be something organized by ECOPs, but I welcome everyone from all career stages. So, and that's a great way for us to have this intergenerational knowledge sharing happening to build trust as well in the process. So there are people who've been doing great work in different countries. I couldn't list, of course, all of what they've been doing because otherwise I would be speaking for another hour, but happy to share more examples of what can be done. And sometimes, you know, even like connecting with some of our focal points from other countries, like if you're, for example, living in one of those countries, like, I don't know, Korea, for example, or Japan, it's also worth it just getting in touch with our focal points directly. I'm also happy to help make this connection so you can know how yourself you can get engaged, what you can do together. And that's also one other opportunity to engage. But of course, Hsiao-Chun, I think it'd be great for us to really try to find this platform that could work to bring ECRs and ECOPs in Taiwan into what the ECOPs are doing on the global stage. So I think that's a really important priority for us to like make sure everyone is involved. No one is left behind. Yeah.
Thank you, Raphael. And I see Pei has a question.
Oh, yes, thank you, Hsiao-Chun. And so glad ECI and Raphael met this conversation happen. And we have met in Barcelona last year. And in that time, I kind of surprised how ECOP did. And the thing I always discuss with people is what is the biggest challenge due in our career in like marine research. And my conclusion is always, I feel so lonely when I do the PhD. So ECOP is definitely a really great networking to help early career people to help each other. And that year, there is a conference called Marine Social Ecosystem Congress in Yokohama. And when I registered, there is a question asked me, do you ECOP or not? And I'm not sure, so I checked the definition of ECOP and I checked this, and I'm not quite sure. So my question is, well, how the system identify if the participant are ECOP or not? I'm even not sure if I'm counting in the 11 member of that in Taiwan. So, Raphael, thank you, and could you share more, like if you have the check process or it's like a very friendly system? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pei. It's such a pleasure to see you again after our first encounter last year in Barcelona. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, great question. I mean, the short answer would be yes, it's very friendly. I know which conference you're referring to because I actually have been helping with this question. You know, do you self-identify as an ECOP? Some people might use different definition, but I don't think there's a rigorous, strict check happening in the back end. It's a lot about self-identifying as an early career. It depends also how you feel. I mean, we put those, you know, those years of like within 10 years. So have you been working in the ocean sphere for more than 10 years? Maybe you're not considered an ECOP because you already have a good network, a good presence. But some people might still self-identify as being early in their career because things aren't moving as fast, or they're stuck into a lot of like proposals and research commitments. So usually I wouldn't say like we welcome pretty much anyone, but when you have this question for conferences, it's not strict. It's very friendly, and then we just hope that, you know, everyone says truthfully whether or not they're an ECOP. But I know that it can be confusing, and I think it's still something that confuses some people whether or not they still believe they're an ECOP. So we try to make this definition as explicit and detailed as possible so people can make the most informed decision. But yeah, I would say it's pretty friendly process on that front. But then, you know, it allows you to be put into a different group. So it gives you the opportunity to network and mingle with other people. If you have this like ECOP tag on your name tag, for example, or on the app that the conference is running, that can make it easier for people to know that you're an ECOP. So it depends if that's something that would be of value to you as well. if that makes sense. And I fully understand your feeling about feeling lonely. That's something that we've heard a lot in many different countries, people feeling lonely in their PhD or their research. And that's what the ECOP program is for, is to kind of bring them this sense of community belonging. So they can share their careers, share the challenges, but also have other people help them if they're stuck, some research, or like put them in touch with some mentors, mentor from a different country, from a different expertise. Some people they love interdisciplinary ocean science. So there might be oceanographers who want to be who want to understand more what's happening with social scientists, or they want to collaborate with the social scientists. So we can try to make those connections happen through this network as well. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, Pei. But yeah, again, it's a friendly process, but I know that it can be confusing by time. So in case you're unsure, you can always reach out to some of us at the ECOP program if you're unsure about anything on that.
Thank you, Raphaël.
Thank you. And I saw in the chat box, Duan asked a question, like how can non-ECOP best support ECOP?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much, Dwight. I think you're already doing a great job within the Ocean Can, helping ECOP through this. Yeah, it's I would say it's through mentorship program that we try to establish in different organizations, trying to support. Usually, like in conferences or high-level events when ECOPs are a little bit shy, or like what we try to do in some conferences I'm involved in is having a name tag ECOPs, or having some smileys on the name tag for people to know that this person is friendly and that they can chat with them if they have some questions, if they want to learn more about what it is, like what job they are doing. So I think there are many ways we can work on that together with later career professionals and mid-career professionals to make ECOPs to make the ECOPs experience at different events worth. But also, if you're part of working groups or the committees in whatever organization you might be involved in, or groups, it could be an idea to actively and meaningfully invite ECOPs into the table. So what we do in some organizations, so I'm involved with the North Pacific Marine Science Organization, for example, PICES, which I believe you might know since you're also on Vancouver Island. And so we are trying to have working groups where we have a senior professional who knows about the process, about the institutional knowledge, and to bring someone who's younger into this leadership role, but not giving them all responsibilities. They will not be lost. They will have a chance to have this mentor who will uplift them and slowly bring them to speed and support them into leading a particular group or activities. So I think having those allies and mentors helping us in those particular opportunities, that's something that we value tremendously. But again, I could think of many other ways we can make that happen.
Okay. Thank you, Raphaël and Duan. I have another question. Sorry. We saw the ECOP program evolved within very short time, but what's the direction that the ECOP program heading to, and what's the future plan?
Yeah, we've been discussing this quite a lot because the growth has been rapid and steady. So we keep growing, but then, growth is one thing, but then we can it's important to know what the future is, and if we want to have a sustainable group that can, our main goal is to last beyond the end of the Ocean Decade. So even though we are Ocean Decade program, which will, technically end in 2030, we want this ECOP community to not end with the Ocean Decade. It should sustain itself and continue in the longer term with those, structures we've established, this decentralized kind of governance structure we have in the world. We hope that this will keep in place and continue to work effectively to support the next generation, because then some of us who are ECOPs will become middle career professionals, and we hope that those middle career professionals will step in support the new ones once they come into the space. And if we can do this, I think that will be very much like a big success for us. But again, you know, everything from, I mean, the big challenge obviously is funding. I wasn't working for a few months because funding was cut unexpectedly, and we know that it's hard to renew that in the longer term. So we're also trying to continue working with organizations to find additional support to keep this momentum, because doing this all on a volunteer basis is very difficult. So that's why we already work on a short team. And if we can keep this team running and expanding it in the future, that would be also very helpful for us if we want to continue push and organize more opportunities, more trainings, and engage more people in the process. But yeah, that would be our vision, to really make sure that this movement can sustain itself, self-sustaining endeavor beyond 2030, and ideally with everyone, you know, also involved here in the room.
Thank you for the answer. I think the funding is always difficult, especially for this kind of huge program and international project. And that leads me to another question. Where does the funding come from?
Good. I think I mentioned it briefly in my presentation. So the initial funding that we received was from a development agency based out of Norway, who specifically allocated some funding towards the ECOP program coordination activities. And so this funding was starting in 2022, and it got renewed. But now that we are facing a bit more constraints, but because our network of networks has considerably expanded and diversified, we now have organizations who are willing to support us, who are willing to support individual coordinators. So we might have an organization supporting the African regional community, more specifically, someone for Asia, someone for Europe. So we're trying to diversify our investment, like our partners portfolio, and trying to have other people value what we're doing, obviously, and then trying to bring them on board to support our activities. It could also be money that will not support someone in the team, but might just be money to bring ECOPs to conferences. So sometimes we have governmental bodies or organizations who all of a sudden have some funding that they can dedicate to some ECOPs to go to a particular event, and then we are going to do on our end the selection process. And so it's a lot of trust building, obviously. Like it's a slow process, but it's important for us to build this trust with as many organizations as possible, so that then investing in us makes sense. So we can see this trust building relationship very bearing fruit as of today, but more efforts need to be done, obviously, and we hope that the conferences happening in Nice will also help strengthen that and lead to new opportunities. And obviously, I'm very thrilled to also connect more closely with all of you at Future Earth Taipei ECR Hub to see what we can do, what we can do together on that.
Okay, thank you for Raphael, and thank you everyone for joining this webinar, because I think it's already 11 o'clock in Taiwan. And thank you for all the participants who have been joining this webinar. And I hope you do understand more about the ECOP program. And if you have any questions, you can send the email or click the link that Raphael just shared. I think Dolly already shared in the chat box as well. And also remember to subscribe the newsletter of ECOP program, so you know what's happening around the world and all in the ECOP program. Thank you.
Of course, feel free to message me anytime if you have questions, or even have a quick chat. Always happy to meet new people.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you soon next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.